And so it was that old Scrooge put his key to the lock, fixing to enter, when to his consternation, sounds of the singing of a Christmas carol was heard. Neighborhood scalawags, nothing more worthwhile to do than fill the air with meaningless screeching, shouted Scrooge out into the street. Yet as he gazed into the street, all was quiet, not another soul in sight. So Scrooge again turned to placing key and lock. Yet again as he did so, the sound of the Christmas music began again, seems like from inside his house, and a voice. He thought for one brief moment, seemed that of, nah, couldn't be. Jake Marley? Thought Ebenezer. Kind of annoyed with himself, old Scrooge entered his home and set out to get ready for bed. He slammed the door hard behind him, as though to keep his thoughts outside in the snowy night. Strange how, when a fella's on edge, seems like sounds are, well, overpowering. And so it was that each step old Scrooge took echoed through his miserable old house. Now let me tell you, Scrooge was not a man to be frightened by echoes or anything much else. So he bolted the door in place and walked up the stairs and went to his room, lantern in hand. Now it shouldn't come as a real big shock to you, that old Scrooge. He didn't heat his whole house. No siree. Only just his tiny little bedroom saw the benefit of a fire, and that only enough to keep the cold Midwest winter winds from putting danger to life and limb. I gotta tell you, Scrooge's mean old mind couldn't quite toss off the memory of that Christmas carol, nor the sound of what seemed to be Marley's voice. And so it was that as Scrooge entered the room, he looked about in every nook and cranny, checking to see if some scoundrel had hid himself in the room. Nobody under the table, nobody under the bed, nobody in the closet, nobody in his dressing gown, which was hanging up near the wall. All seemed right. His old shoes, 2 small books on a miserable shelf, washing stand on 4 legs, a small fire in the small wood stove, and a poker. So, satisfied he was alone, Scrooge, he closed his door and locked himself in. Double locked himself in, which was unusual. See, Scrooge, he never worried much about no one breaking into his house. Everyone knew he'd get more from robbing old Tom Bullock, the town bum, than from old Ebenezer Scrooge. So, comfortable he wouldn't be surprised, he took off his outer coat, put on his dressing gown and slippers, and his nightcap, and sat down before the fire to warm himself. It was a very low fire, in spite of being a bitter night. Ebenezer wasn't likely to burn a stick more wood than necessary. He was obliged to sit close to it and brood over it, so he couldn't fetch the smallest flicker of warmth from such a handful of fuel. Humbug, said Scrooge, as he leaned his head back in his old chair. His head began to nod, tired as he was. Old Scrooge wakes with a start. The music seems to be coming from somewhere in the room. But Scrooge wasn't one to give in easy.
Christmas humbug. I'll not believe it, I tell you.